ahead and start because I know it's that time of year where holidays are around the corner and we have finals and papers and all the things. So thank you for everyone being here. I'm Dr. Wood, Dr. Jillian Wood. I wear a couple hats, but for the purpose of today, I'm the Director of Undergraduate Education and an Associate Professor in our undergrad program. We're very excited. I recognize some names from our prospective students who were here last week with us. So thank you for joining us again. But tonight is really special because we are going to be talking to Attallah alums who have vast careers. And I think that is the main goal for the prospective students on the call and any current students that are on the call, to realize that there's so much you can do in education, and that can be absolutely a traditional K through 12 teacher. And we will prepare you for that. But there's other really neat education jobs and in the private sector and nonprofit sector too. And so that's kind of what we're going to cover tonight. So thank you to everyone who is here after a long school day. Thank you to the alums who are here after a long work day. But we'll get started. What it'll essentially be is I will introduce Dean Miller in a second, and then I'm going to ask the students to put something in the chat, and then we will have our alums introduce themselves, and then we'll get to some questions, and then there'll be time at the end for our students to ask the alums questions. This is a great time because I can tell you all day how great our program is, but I'm not in the classes. So these are folks who have gone to Chapman, did all the things at Chapman, and are now working. So it's a really unique opportunity. So on that note, I'm going to pass it to Dean Miller.
Well, thank you, Dr. Wood. I really appreciate it. As she said, I am the Dean of the Attallah College of Educational Studies, and it is a pleasure to welcome the alumni for this career panel. We do this each fall, and we have different alumni who participate in them to showcase all the ranges of careers here in Attallah. One of the things that is of increasing importance to us is to be able to expose people to the fact that if you come to Attallah College, you are studying education for a career, but that career destination can change over time. So you're going to hear from some people who started in a classroom and then they've gone on to another career, others who are still in a classroom. And then also you may hear about persons who were here at the Attallah College and thought they wanted to be teachers. And then sometime in their junior or senior year, wandered down to my office, absolutely in tears, saying, how do I tell my parents I don't want to be a second grade teacher anymore? And I say, it's okay. We're going to get through this and find a job for you. And that's how we take care of people here at Chapman University. And I'm so proud. I'm so thrilled to have taught many of the people on this call. And as they know, I always joke, don't end up in my phone because you will be there for life and I will continue to bug you to please come help us. So I just want to say thank you to all of you who responded to that call. We really do take the saying Chapman family and Panther for Life very seriously. And I am just so touched, and just letting you know that all the faculty who taught you, when I was able to tell them last week who was going to be on the call this week, they were just having a trip down memory lane and just are so very proud of you. So thank you for being here. And to all of our prospective and current students, we're glad you're here too. And I hope that you have a great job, just an absolutely fantastic experience this evening. So Dr. Wood, back to you.
Great, thank you. Before we have our alums introduce themselves and share where they work, for any current and prospective students that are on the call, if in the chat you want to put where you are zooming in from, and then what your current career goal is. As Dean Miller said, that might change before you even get into Chapman, but that also might change your second year, third year, or senior year. But for now, what you're interested in doing. So again, in the chat, where you are zooming in from, and then what your current career goal is. And no one has to talk, so no one should be shy for what they type.
Why don't you go ahead and start
Yeah,
introductions
we'll
since
go
we
ahead.
may have people on phones, which is
Yes,
not as
no
easy to
problem.
chat
Yeah,
with.
we can do that. So, what I'm gonna do for the alums is I'm gonna have you introduce yourselves, and then while you introduce yourself, answer the first question because it goes along with your introduction. So, the alums, if you can share your name and then where you currently work and what your role is there. So we'll start with Katie, and then any alum can jump after Katie.
Perfect. Hi, all. I am Katie Tucker, and I am currently living in the Bay Area of California, and I am working at NASA Ames as the internship specialist there. And I am loving it. I am affected by the government shutdowns right now, and so lucky for me, I have not been working for the past month, but I have a lot to share and look forward to talking to all of you about my current position as well as how I got to this role.
Great, thank you.
My name is Amanda Marcella. I currently live in San Diego and I work for the Encinitas Union School District within San Diego County. And I am currently a social emotional learning enrichment teacher. So, in addition to art and music and PE, the students in Encinitas also get specifically social emotional learning.
Thank you.
Don't mind hopping in next. Hi, I'm Allison. I live in the Bay Area and I work at a marketing tech company called Braze. And I've worked there for about 4.5 years. And my title is Manager of Talent Development Strategy and Operations, which means I help our team be a data-driven team. And I also am the administrator for our learning management system.
Hi everyone, my name is Maggie Gallardo. I live in Orange County, Lake Forest, and teach in Saddleback Valley Unified School District. I am a fifth grade teacher right now, and I have taught in the Spanish language immersion program in the 90-10 model. So half my day is I'm teaching in English and half my day is Spanish. Thanks for having me.
I'll go next. My name is Stephanie Wigley. I am currently in Costa Mesa. I work for Newport Mesa School District as a speech language pathologist.
Hi everyone, my name is Dorcas Hoy. I currently live in Irvine, but I work at Yorba Middle School in Orange Unified School District. I am a math teacher and an avid teacher, and then I'm also one of the avid coordinators on site.
I'll go next. My name is Lenore Martikis, and I live in the Bay Area now. I am splitting my time a little bit currently. I'm an instructional designer at Cal State Fullerton, and I'm also an online accessibility specialist at a community college up here in the Bay Area called Diablo Valley College.
I lost Dr. Wood. I think that's all our alums, yes?
There we go. Hi.
There you are.
Yes, there you go. Sorry, I had to switch the internet. Yes, so thank you. The next question is, what led you to your positions? And we can kind of switch with who starts. So we'll start with Maggie.
I attended school in the district that I'm currently teaching in. And so I knew of the school, but I wasn't sure if I was going to be interested in teaching in dual language immersion. So I was able to student teach in Orange Unified in my student teaching year when I was doing the master's at Chapman. And I was able to do half of the year in non-dual and then the other half in dual language immersion, and that just solidified the fact that I wanted to do that. So I got this exact position and was led to this school by I went to a conference for one of just through my coursework, and one of the presenters shared his contact information and said, if you need to come, observe. And I was like, really? So I wrote it down, got in to observe his classroom for an assignment in Dr. Miller's class, got to meet the principal, and ultimately they were on my interview panel. thanks to these assignments and just being out there in the field from day one. And yeah, I've been at that school for 6 years.
Wow. Thank you so much. Very powerful of networking, which is what we tell our students and the relationships we build here. Great.
I can go next. I started this position about 8 months ago. Prior to that, I was in the classroom. I was teaching first grade, and there were some extenuating circumstances about the district that I was in, and I needed a break. As many of the other people in here who have been in the classroom can attest, that education and classroom is a lot, and there's a lot of politics and things that are involved that aren't just the children. No matter how much you love the children, no matter how much you want to do what's best for them, there are other things that were going on. And I was like, you know what? I need a break. I was like, oh, I'll just take a year off, figure things out, and had somebody reach out on LinkedIn when I wasn't looking at all. I was honestly planning on traveling and kind of figuring out what I wanted to do and then going back to the classroom because I love teaching and I love the children, but this kind of fell into my lap unintentionally. And for the last 2 months of this last school year, I was working two jobs. I was working remotely starting at like 5 a.m. because I was on East Coast time, and then going and teaching in the classroom for 2 months. And it was hectic, but I realized that I was looking forward to waking up early and then was wishing that I could continue doing that as opposed to going into the classroom because I had a really rough year. And so then when the school year ended, I just kind of leapt right in. I was able to go on site here at Ames in the Bay Area, and I have been obsessed with my job. It's one of those things that I think that everyone should realize, that if you wake up excited to go to work every day, that means that you've made it. And that's what I hope you realize, is that just like while I was student teaching, I woke up excited to go to work. Woke up excited to learn from these mentors. I woke up every day at Chapman excited to see these teachers. Even during COVID, when right, I was with Dr. Wood during COVID, virtual classes, still, even though we were all in bed, we were still excited to be there and talk to each other. And realizing that that has come back in this most recent role is such an exciting feeling. And so I am I think I kind of unintentionally answered two questions, but yeah, I've been here about 8 months and I'm looking forward to continuing. We recently swapped contracts, and so that was a big change of finding out that, like many government contract workers, there's a lot of uncertainty about career stability, but I got really lucky and the contract was picked up by another company, and so currently it feels like the beginning of another chapter because we are again going through health insurance and transferring everything over, which is an exciting part because now I'm the knowledgeable one, where the new contract is coming in and saying, well, what do you do? And I get to have impact on what we see for the future here at NASA.
Great. Thank you so much.
I'll go next. I actually went to speech therapy as a young kid for about 10 years. So I really wanted to give back and go into that field. And Chapman really gave me that opportunity to explore that. I had a good background in education, and that really helped me be successful in the school setting, to really understand the dynamics and hear what the teachers are going through so that I can be the best support for the teachers and my students at the school. So I really love it. It's a lot of fun. You never know what they're going to say. So it's always entertaining. You're never bored when you're in the classroom or working anywhere with kids. You are never bored.
Thanks.
I can go next. I graduated Chapman and went to Las Vegas to teach high school math through Teach for America. And then I taught for about 6 years between Las Vegas and Irvine. And through that time, wanted to move into a career that felt a little bit more true to how I work and live and experience the world. And I realized that in teaching, I really liked the learning theory and I liked the pedagogy and I liked the course design aspects of teaching, but the teaching and the execution of lesson plans and being up in front of a classroom every day, all day, burned me out and exhausted me. And so I felt like I needed to transition into something that let me still be heavily involved in education. And so thankfully, because of my degree in integrated educational studies at the time, and my master's degree in curriculum and instruction, I was able to transition into being an instructional designer, where I basically got to do all of that stuff. I got to work with faculty and help them design really engaging courses, help them transition courses from in-person to online. I still got to do a little bit of teaching and facilitating professional development workshops for faculty. And in that time, I really leaned into accessibility and learning about how to make online courses and online materials accessible, which has led to my now role too of working with faculty and helping them create online accessible content as well as the classified staff as well, helping them create accessible digital materials and flyers to be able to present to the community and public and the students.
Great. Thank you.
I have a similar experience to Lenore, so I don't mind hopping in.
Yeah.
I was one of the students that Dr. Miller was talking about 6 months before graduation saying,
Which one? You were it. You were it.
That was me. I was like, I don't want to be a teacher anymore. And so Chapman helped me find instructional design, and I got my master's in instructional design and technology and have been a learning experience designer since 2018. And it's been just a great opportunity to use my teaching degree, but also, transfer it into adult learning theory and being able to close skill gaps and knowledge gaps within the tech field and at my company. And so my team really helps managers become better people managers. We teach, individual contributors soft skills, and we really design courses on how to be a better, employee at Breeze. And so I, for much of my career, was a learning experience designer, which is kind of another term for instructional designer. And then just in August, switched to the more technical side. I felt like I did a lot with it, with learning experience design, and enjoyed the technical side more as of recently. And so when the opportunity on my team became available, I switched over to it. So it's been a very exciting and fulfilling career of getting to use my, learning theory knowledge, but also learning, how to design e-learning courses or how to design instructor-led workshops, and in the virtual space and in the non-virtual space. So it's very cool.
And I'd like to jump in. Thank you for sharing that. The reason why I want to jump in is because new here at Chapman University, which these alumni did not experience, we now have the ability for undergraduate students to get their credential in either multiple subject, which leads to elementary teaching, or special education while they are an undergraduate. So for a student who might like to pursue a master's degree in instructional design, a master's degree in learning and development, a master's degree in something that isn't focused on classroom teaching, but wants to be a classroom teacher initially, they can get what we call our academic certificate in either elementary or special education, and they student teach in the second semester of their senior year. Then they can pursue a master's degree that is separate from our Master of Arts in Teaching degree, for example. And so you can already hear on this call that we have several alumni who did something along those lines, but they had to do it prior to the state of California allowing for that credential at the bachelor's level. And I think it was 2 years ago, we wrote a $250,000 grant application to the state to design those two programs, and they went live this fall. So we now have the ability to grant the credentials at the bachelor's degree level as well as the master's degree level, which is different than these alumni experienced.
Great. Thank you.
I'll go next because kind of tying to that, I actually took a gap year after I graduated from Chapman. And in that gap year, I was a reading tutor. And then I did more research about the master's program I wanted to do and the credential program. And I ended up going through Brandman, which used to be attached to Chapman, but no longer is. And I've worn many hats in education. I've been a reading tutor, I've been an intervention teacher, I've been a substitute teacher, I've been an instructional assistant. Ultimately, what led me to my current position as a social emotional learning teacher is working in the classroom the last several years. So I was a fourth grade teacher for the past 3 years at a international baccalaureate dual language immersion charter school. That was an experience, and I learned a lot through it, but I also kind of learned what I was most passionate about, and that was social emotional learning. So I wanted to expand my horizons and challenge myself as an educator. And Encinitas is the only district in San Diego County that has this program. And so I wanted to focus on that full time and make it the central part of my work. And so I feel so lucky I get to work with first through sixth graders every day and teach them social emotional skills. And there's a lot less pressure. There's not the academic, the rigor pressure. And I help them build their, emotional vocabulary and their regulation skills and help build community. And I can design lessons that are both meaningful and fun for them. Yeah, that's what led me here, was my passion, honestly.
Great, thank you. And I think Dorcas, I think you're next.
Yeah. So when I was in my undergrad at Chapman, I was doing the IES major, and I wasn't certain that I wanted to be a classroom teacher. It just felt kind of like the standard thing to do. And so when I was doing my coursework, I chose 2 minors that kind of gave me a good foundation in all the subjects that I would need. So I was a language and literacy minor as well as a STEM minor, but I remember like really not being sure about it. And so when I started my coursework for the Macy program, because I had started to apply for that early as well, I was taking some classes that exposed me to some really great foundational skills on how to teach students how to learn things like math and other subjects. And I really liked that. And so because of my professors that I had, and then also just being able to talk to student advisors and program advisors, I got a lot of feedback on the different types of classes I could take and also the programs that would best fit my interests as well. And so when I entered the Macy program, I had told our program advisors that I am starting off as a multiple subject credential just because that's kind of what I've always known, but I'm open to doing a single subject credential too. And so I felt really heard by Chapman because they're like, okay, let's make sure that you can get your single subject credential as well at Chapman. And then I was also provided a scholarship so that I could do both. And so during my student teaching experience, I got to see upper grade, um, third grade, and sixth grade. And doing sixth grade kind of gave me that foot in the door of what is it like to teach some of the older kids? And that gave me a bit more confidence to then apply for jobs that were at a middle school level. But to be honest, even up until I was actually in the classroom teaching middle school, there was still some uncertainty that I actually wanted to do that. But I think overall, my education at Chapman has prepared me to be okay with different circumstances and to be confident in taking on new challenges. And so at this point, I've been at the same job for 7 years, and I've really enjoyed it. And ultimately, it was through networking and just having positive relationships with my mentor teachers and also the admin at my school that helped to lead me to my current position.
Great, thank you. And so this next question is kind of hard because, as a lot of us know, especially in education, regardless of what industry, no day is the same, even though you might be doing the same task. So in your different roles that you have, what does a typical day look like?
I have a pretty conventional teacher day, so I'll
Great.
begin and then we'll go on to NASA, which is amazing. So I start my day, the kids come at 8:30. If you have duty before or after school, then you'll be there a little bit before or after. And I have had 32 kids in my class is the highest. I have 30 this year. You might have, as a general ed teacher, either 504 meetings or IEP meetings or some of those sort of extra meetings to attend before or after school. And my job site is very collaborative, and so we meet once a week as a team. The fifth grade team will meet to plan the next week's curriculum, and then we also have trimester planning where we'll do vertical articulation and map out all of our standards that we're covering. So it's a very collaborative environment, which I appreciate. I've gotten to be on many different grade levels and teams, and that's been consistent. So, but pretty much it'll end, by 4:30. Even if you have a meeting or something, grades wrap up, and then with the exception of, just some extra IEPs or 504s, it's pretty much 8:30 to 2:45 is when the kids go.
Great, thank you. Yeah, we can jump to Katie if you want to share what
Perfect.
a
Mine's
day could look
the
like for you.
opposite now.
Yeah.
Right, not that long ago, mine was the exact same as Maggie's of getting to school at 7:30 because we started at 8 and doing the traditional having 25 kids for first grade and they sweethearts, but it is go, 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 go. And now every single day is different, that I'm in charge of the entire process from start of like sending out offer letters to interns and getting mentors to choose interns all the way into onboarding. And so I'm in charge of introducing them to NASA, making sure they know where they're going and ensuring that they've gotten laptops ordered and have badging. And then throughout the internship, I put on a lot of tours, I put on events, I support them and have open office hours to make sure that they are content. The majority of the young people I work with are in college or have just recently graduated. And so every single term is slightly different. We have a summer term, which is crazy. This last summer, we had 258 interns. And then in the fall, it goes down because, of course, they have to take a gap semester or a gap year to come. And so right now we have about 36 interns, and that will be about the same, if not less, for spring due to the current government situation. But in summer, it goes back up. And then closing out the term in charge of making sure that they clear out all their spaces. And at Ames, like any huge campus, it's equivalent to Chapman in the sense that they are everywhere. Over the summer, I did not know where they all were. They are all in offices spread out throughout this multi-acre large facility. And so a lot of my responsibility is kind of acting as like a advisor in a sense, that I have an office, I have a student work center in the room right next to me. And so making that space safe for them to come in and talk to me if they have any questions. My day-to-day is pretty much at a computer or on tours or planning out enrichment opportunities or planning out opportunities for them to connect with other mentors. It is similar in a sense to what we're doing now, where I'm finding people that are in careers that these young people may be interested in and realizing that, especially as a young person right now, you don't know what you don't know. And I think that's something that I've learned and we've all learned in these industries, is that when you think in your mind, I want to work with children, I love babysitting, I love tutoring, and there seems to be this one clear path that oftentimes it seems like the easiest path to follow. And similarly in sciences. And so a part of my role is showing them that it's not just computer science and engineering. It can be studying how astronauts sleep on the spacecraft, and it can be analyzing the impact of space radiation on the brain and lungs, and the impact of the moon dust on microorganisms within the body. And so encouraging them to explore those different opportunities. And then, of course, there's a little bit of recruiting involved as well, of getting interns to apply and getting mentors to choose interns.
Thank you.
So every day looks a little bit different for me. Each day I see a different grade level. There's 2 days of the week I see two grade levels. So Monday and Tuesday I see one grade level. I do enrichment rotation, so they get all of their specials within a block of time so that grade level teams can meet and collaborate during that time. And so I see them for a half an hour. We rotate through. On Wednesdays and Thursdays, I see two grade levels, so it takes up more of my day. But on Fridays, I have prep time or collaboration time. And Fridays are also an early dismissal day so that all the staff can have meetings and collaborate. And I also run small groups for students who need just that extra little support. And I also help with school-wide initiatives, and I collaborate closely with our multi-tiered system of support coordinator, and then also our school psychologist and our school counselor. Again, it looks different every day, but every day revolves around helping the kids and helping them understand themselves. So it's meaningful for me.
I'll go next. My day-to-day kind of looks very different. So I know I kind of mentioned IEP. So I do sit into a lot of IEPs because I am the main SLP at my school, speech language pathologist. So I have about 81 kids that are on my caseload right now. I do have help. I promise my district has given me support. So like my day tomorrow, I have a meeting in the morning at 7:50, and then I start seeing kids from 8:30 to 11:45, and then I have a lunch, and then I see kids until 12:30 to the end of the day, and then I have another IEP meeting for at the end of the school day. So that's kind of the norm, but I do see my school is to second through sixth grade, so I have one session of second graders, and I have another session of sixth graders. So I do see all the kids every single day. Most sessions run. A lot of the groups run 30 minutes. Sometimes we have some individuals that are 15 to 30 minutes. So it really just depends. And it's very quick pace, so you're never bored. That's the fun thing about that.
Great, thank you.
I don't mind going next. So I work fully remote, and most of my team sits in New York, London, or Singapore. And so I work kind of East Coast hours. I work 7:30 to 3:30. And so I log on in the morning and I check my Slack messages and my email and try to respond to any of the messages that might have come in the morning or at night. And I set up my tasks for the day. And a large chunk of my day is being in meetings with people on my team. So any projects that we're working on together, we do a lot of like collaborating meetings where we're working on similar things together, or like coming together to make a big decision or planning what the next step of a project is. And so my meetings usually start around 8. I have maybe like 4 or 5 hours of meetings a day. And then after that, I work on my tasks from those meetings. And so that could be either building a data dashboard to see how our training is going, or putting a presentation together for senior leadership to, ask if we can buy a new tool, or a lot of different random stuff. Or maybe I'm building an e-learning course, and there's just a lot of random tasks to do every day. And so by the end of the day, I usually will plan my next week. But in September, the new hire onboarding program also was put under me. So I kind of have my feet in two worlds as well. And so we've been tasked to completely revamp the new hire onboarding program. And so Braze is a global company, and we have, I think, 14 offices worldwide. And so we're trying to figure out how we can scale that globally and make sure that everyone, no matter where they're onboarding, has a great experience. And so that's been most of my time, is figuring out, what we need to improve, how we can improve it, and make sure that our tiny team of 2 can make sure that, 500 people the next year can onboard correctly. So it's been a very interesting journey so far.
Great, thank you. Dorcas, I saw that you were gonna go next.
Sure. So my typical day, I mean, being a teacher, I think my hours are pretty standard. Our students come at 8 and their day ends at 2:38. So I usually am there from like 7:15 to around 3:30. I think one of the perks that I've enjoyed the most about being a middle school teacher is that I get a conference period. And so during that conference period, I am just grading or I'm checking up on emails or I'm collaborating with my team. And so I collaborate with a lot of people for the various hats that I wear. In our 7 period day, I teach 5 out of the 7 classes because my 6th class that I would typically teach in my load, it's for my AVID coordinator period. And so during that time, I'm um, meeting with our AVID team and I'm planning instructional strategies or observing teachers to provide support. And then as for my math classes, I do enjoy that I get to repeat teaching the same content because my like second time around that I teach it, I feel a lot more confident. I also teach with a co-teacher in my class. So because my 2 of my math classes have a higher percentage of students with IEPs, then my co-teacher is a special education teacher. And so the 2 of us, we co-teach and co-plan to best support our students of various needs. I also really enjoy that at the middle school level, students are really encouraged to explore their own interests. And so sometimes that looks like having elective classes that I teach. So I do teach the AVID elective, and I really enjoy that one. I think my multiple subject background has really helped support me in providing a real robust education for my students there. Um, but we also have multiple clubs on campus. And so this year I'm currently running a lunchtime club. So my classroom, I do like to keep it open for my students at lunchtime, but I also know it's important for me as an educator, like because I have a like constant revolving door of like 15 to 35 students like in my class at a time. I need that break too. And so sometimes my lunches mean like it's just me in my class eating my lunch alone, or I'm locking the door and going to like visit somebody else's class so that I'm not stuck in my classroom all day.
Great, thank you. And then Lenore, I think you were the last one.
Sure. So, my days look pretty different depending on which role I'm doing, but as an instructional designer at a university, a lot of my day revolves around doing faculty consultations or faculty meetings. So a lot of times, I've specifically worked with the College of Business and Economics. I might get referred to a professor, or a professor remembers me from a workshop, and they might reach out about a specific question on course design, or if they are transitioning their course from in-person to online, we might meet about certain tools or different things that they can implement in their courses. Um, I also work with a pretty large team of instructional designers at the university, almost one per college. There's about 6 or 7 of us now. So there's a lot of collaboration on that. And I'm also involved in the quality assurance program, which is just like certification for online courses internationally. It's called Quality Matters. And so a little bit of my job also revolves around creating some of the trainings that we allow our faculty to go through to be certified, and to prepare them for the certification process, and then to meet with faculty one-on-one to check out their course alignment maps and give them some consultations on how to best structure their courses. So that's a lot of my day is working with faculty and creating resources for faculty, templates, things that they can use to make their role in designing courses a little bit easier.
Great, thank you. Now back to Chapman. So how did your time at Chapman, what you learned in Attallah, your faculty relationships, how did that and how has that helped you in your current role or the path to your role?
I'll go first. My senior year, we did a capstone, which is like a thesis that we do your senior year. And I was really interested of working in the school, so I did my capstone project on speech therapy in the private sector versus the public school sector. And my advisor was Dr. Allen. He was really supportive. He was really helping me try to make connections and that was really great. It was so much fun, and I actually got a couple letters from professors in the College of Education to help me get in my post-baccalaureate program and also help me with my master's program as well. I was at Chapman for about 8 years. I think it's a great school. I went through different colleges on campus, so no matter which college you're in, Chapman has such well-rounded education programs. No matter what you study, you will get such good experiences in the classroom and also outside of the classroom, because that's something Chapman really does is they get you real life experiences, and that's something that not only the undergrad but the graduate program does as well, no matter which college you're in. So I think they just really prepared me for what I wanted to do, and they really personalized it. That's the biggest thing. If you know what you want to do, they'll help you get there.
Great. Thank you so much.
I can add on to the actual real life experience. I went through undergrad and then did the Macy program at Chapman. And one of the things that, especially as a new teacher, I was incredibly thankful and grateful for was actually having an entire year in the classroom and getting to see day one until day 180. And I think that's something that you don't realize is so important until you are interacting with other new teachers that only got to see the ending part of the school year. And that is something that I'm incredibly grateful for, as well as throughout, if you want to go through the teaching path, there are lots of different tests that you have to take. And of course, they're so fun. But I feel like Chapman actually supported me, and and most of my cohort was incredibly successful in passing those requirements on the first go around. And that's something that I value a lot because they do cost money and they take a lot of time. But being able to feel like we had an entire course all about the RICA and was completely supported. And even now that I'm not in the classroom, I still know all of the language related to educational philosophies. And these professors are unlike any that you will ever meet. They are the most supportive and the most encouraging. You could just walk into the building and find somebody, and they would help you regardless of whether they are your direct professor or not. The number of times that I reached out to professors asking for insight or asking for connections to different organizations or schools, and they are just the most supportive people. And I'm still in contact with multiple, even if they are no longer at Chapman. And I think that says a lot about who they are as people.
Great. Thank you. All right. Who's next?
I wanted to just add on to a little bit of what Katie was talking about because I also did the Macy program. And I just reiterated that the year-long student teaching was really what gave me such good experience, and it made me feel more prepared, and just exactly what to expect on the very first day of school versus the very last day of school, even though I was in two different placements. I think that the classes that I took at Chapman overall just really prepared me for the professional workspace interactions with people, and then also like myself and the expected behaviors of a professional. And I think that those were just so important because when like when I was transitioning from being a college student to now being an adult who is in charge of many children, I I had to set some boundaries because my middle schoolers weren't certain of like how to respect me because I was younger. But I felt like um, my experience at Chapman helped me set those boundaries, not just with my middle schoolers, but then also with my colleagues that I was working with. And I think that that was really important. Um, I'm currently in a program for my admin credential, and being in like many different positions of leadership at my school currently has kind of pushed me in that direction of just thinking about how can I better prepare myself as a leader. And I think that my Chapman experience has really helped support me in just seeing that even if I'm not confident of where I want to be, I know that I have support in like knowing that I have professors that I can talk to, and knowing that I have other people who are in my cohort, who are my colleagues, who I can talk to as well about just how to pursue these like leadership positions. And so even though I'm going down this path of doing the admin program. I don't know where I want to be, but I think that Chapman has definitely given me the confidence to pursue things even if I am uncertain, because I know that I want to keep learning as an educator.
Great, thank you.
I would agree with what Dorcas was saying, where, you know, Chapman really sets you up to be like a professional and like you understand how to enter the professional space. And I, even to this day, like over 10 years ago, I still think of the class I took with you, Dr. Miller, about, you know, business writing and writing in general. And as a learning experience designer, you have to write in a way that is digestible for multiple types of audiences. And so I still like directly think back to all of the writing skills I learned in my degree. And it's just been an amazing experience to be able to keep using those skills. And also, Chapman really helped me learn how to like think critically and speak in a concise way and learn how to collaborate with people, even like from any walk of life, and also how to be a very like global and inclusive thinker as well. And also to directly translate, like learning how children learn to then how adults learn was a very like seamless path as well. And so it was cool being able to still tie back to what I learned about how children learn and then adult learn. And so it's been very cool to be able to still use those over 10 years later.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to segue a little bit given our time and want to make clear for anyone who's on this call but was not on our call last week. So we have two majors in the College of Educational Studies. We have a liberal studies major and we have a community educational studies major. If at any point in time our prospective students on the call think they would like to be either an elementary or a special education teacher, the liberal studies major is the major for you. Because by California state law, if you major in liberal studies, you do not have to take the California Basic Educational Skills Test, and you do not have to take the California Subject Exam for teachers. So if you want to be an elementary or special educator, the liberal studies major is for you. Then we also offer an elementary education minor, which is also for those who would like to eventually be a special ed teacher as well. In that elementary ed minor is where we have the classes, like I heard someone say, learning theory, and the other classes that are pedagogically based. Because in the liberal studies major, you're going to take all of the content classes that you would have to teach in elementary or special ed, and you're going to take the things like our alumni said about our capstone experience, where you do an individual inquiry project that involves 60 hours of field work in the setting in which you want to explore that question. So that would be the liberal studies major with the elementary ed minor. Our other major, community educational studies, is for people who would like a career in education, but they know it's not one that's going to involve a classroom, either in elementary or special ed. So if you want to go into learning and development, and you know that now, if you want to go into corporate training, if you want to do something like go into instructional design, but you don't want to spend time in an elementary or special ed classroom first, you could major in community educational studies. Also, if you want to do nonprofit work, policy work, non-government work, you want to do what Katie does now at NASA, but straight off the bat, you could go into the community educational studies major. So I just wanted to go over that with everyone. We also have a large number of minors. We still have the STEM education minor, which Dorcas talked about. Maggie was a STEM ed minor. Was anybody else STEM ed? Katie was a STEM ed minor. And so that goes over all of the content area that a multiple subjects or special ed teacher might teach in STEM. And it does help to prepare you if you want to be a credential holder in foundational math. So that's something that you could do as well. One thing I do want to be very clear about with everybody on the call is if you want to pursue a single subject credential and you want to do it above foundational math, or you wish to do it in the sciences, like I'm credentialed in two sciences, English, history, or music, State of California wants you to major in your subject area. So if you want to do biology like I did, you're going to major in biology, but you're going to minor in secondary education over here in the College of Educational Studies. So we have all that for you. We're more than happy to customize your program, but just know that we're really attuned to what the credentials require. And also we're attuned to what other states' credentials require. So for example, we had someone graduate from the Macy program, MA in Curriculum Instruction, a couple of years ago. They walked across the stage with their diploma and walked right into their classroom in North Carolina 7 weeks later. We've had people who walk across the stage here in Orange and they go back to their home state and they do the credential program in their home state. And they meet with our advisors to make sure that as an undergrad, we get them every class they need to go back to their home state for a credential program. And so you can see stories about people like that in our Chapman newsroom. We have a lot of stories about persons who have been successful with doing that. So even if California isn't your destination state for your teaching credential, just know that we can take care of you because we look up all of the requirements. We make the phone calls if we need to, send the emails, and make sure that what's going to be on your transcript is going to be what you need in that next state that might be your destination. Dr. Wood?
Thank you. There's one more question, which I'm going to hold for a second. I first want to see if there's any questions from the prospective students and students on the call. If you want to put them in the chat. And while we're waiting for those, and we'll go back to those, to the alums, and you can go in whatever order, in like a sentence or two, what advice would you give to our prospective students who are trying to make their application and decision on where to apply and during this very fun journey? We'll do two and then we'll answer the questions. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll go first. It's been a while since I applied, but I remember how stressful it can feel. And the biggest piece of advice I can think of is to put your heart into your application. The authenticity really shines through, and also focus on finding a school that aligns with your values and how you learn. Chapman being on the smaller side when I went, it was more helpful for me. It helped develop my confidence as a professional, as everybody has said. But also I want to mention being open to new opportunities. When I started at Chapman, I had no intention of minoring in the leadership studies program, but I took a leadership studies class, and ultimately it's probably one of the most memorable experiences I had while I was at Chapman. So be open to new opportunities that you might not expect. They become meaningful parts of your journey, but stay true to who you are. Don't just say what you think the admissions, group wants to hear.
Great, thank you.
Sure,
One more.
I'll add on.
Yeah, go ahead, Maggie.
Just in a really succinct, I came for the classes. In the long run, I stayed for the community. Attallah is such a supportive environment. I was able to come back and work at Chapman. I'm excited to say I'll be back in the spring working at Chapman as a university supervisor. It is just such a supportive place. Your professors are there for you. Your cohorts and your colleagues are there for you to get you where you need to be professionally. On paper, they know all the credentials, they know all the requirements, but then personally as well, they're there for you. They'll talk you through tough decisions, and it's not surprising to see. I was just there last night and saw colleagues that are back and teaching, and it's just such a community. Once you're in, you're in. So it's a great place to be.
Great. Thank you so much. There is a question about, as a transfer student from community college, what is the most important part of the application? I will answer that, but are any of you alum, or any of the alum, were you transfer students? Any of you?
I came in as a weird situation where I had a full year of college credit and so was able to graduate in 3 years. And Chapman was more than accommodating with accepting all of my classes. I, at about this point, met with the admissions office and had one of the admissions counselors sit down with me and spend an hour with me going over every single class and exactly how it would transfer. That honestly was my deciding factor, as I was like, wait, this is the one college that will actually work to make sure I could graduate in 3 years. And then go on to better things, but they will make it happen. And especially California community colleges, it aligns very well.
Awesome. Thank you, Katie. To piggyback off on Katie, I am that person now who does that. So, Stella, I put my email in there. If you just want to connect with me, I can look at the classes you've taken and kind of give you an idea of to make sure this is the proper time to apply. And if not, if there's other classes you should take. And then, kind of to piggyback off what Amanda was saying for the application, I think it's just showing why Chapman is the school for you and why you are a good fit for it. And the other thing about transfer that's very important is trying, and our transfer director of transfer, Shannon Grogan, I'm copying this from her, so I'm crediting her, is always saying, especially for transfers, is your GPA, making sure that it's strong, not necessarily for the admissions piece, but to get a really strong financial aid package. So that's Shannon's big advice, especially for transfer students, since it's a short window. But email me and I will meet with you, and Shannon will meet with you. We both meet with the transfer students ahead of time. Without you having to deposit or anything, we'll do it before you even apply. Any other questions? I think Dean Miller answered Francesca. We'll do one more advice and then we'll close it, but one more quick advice any alum wants to share for our students. We'll end on that note.
Keep an open mind, be open to changing your mind, and never say no to any opportunities, and just have fun and enjoy the time you're here at Chapman.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, I do want to be mindful of time because everyone's such busy schedules. So I just want to thank the alums again. I was taking notes during this, to be honest, to tell my students in my class about all the cool things you all are doing. Stephanie mentioned the capstone. I teach the capstone. One of the things they have to submit is a LinkedIn. So Katie, I'm going to start telling them that that's how you got your job at NASA, that they reach out to you, because sometimes
Old reach out.
like,
It was completely cold call, reach out. They were like, hey, you want to do this? Friday got the message, saw it Saturday, interview or message back on Monday, interview Tuesday, offer letter Friday.
Yeah, amazing. And now it will be proof for it's not just a silly assignment. So I'm going to be citing you. So thank you. But anyways, just you all are so amazing. So thank you so much for taking the time after a busy work day. Thank you for the students and current students. And we do have one last question. How busy was your college schedule? Let's answer it in like a minute. Katie, why don't you answer it real quick?
You make it as busy as you want. I hated morning classes. I never had a morning class unless it was for Macy where there was only one option. You can schedule it as you see fit. There were multiple semesters where I had 4 classes, but I didn't have anything on Fridays. But then simultaneously, I was doing the STEM minor, and so had some science classes that took a lot of time. I think that especially in the education sector, they are very aware of balancing it out, and that was really nice, where I never felt overwhelmed, and there was always a team to work with me of finishing things. I had no issues, but I am sure that other people experience different things.
Yeah, we will say, and this will be kind of our last thing, and then you can email me with any questions you have, but we have a wonderful academic advisor, Miriam, who will meet with you. I also support the students. Dean Miller's a support, and you can make it as busy as you want, and you can make it as not as busy as you want. So that's something that is very individualized to each student. So again, want to thank you for all the students and potentially families that are on this call. We so appreciate you taking the time on a November evening to be with us. Again, so much thanks to the alums. Please, thank you, Katie, for that. Please, again, if you're on a student on the call or prospective student, please email me. But I hope everyone has a wonderful night, wonderful upcoming Thanksgiving holiday. And thank you again for coming. We appreciate you.